Welcome, dear people, to part 2 of the tutorial on how to record or how to build an app which records and uploads the audio file to Firebase. And now in the second part of the video playlist, we will look at this lifecycle methods. And the lifecycle methods in Android Studio are on create and on start. We have here on resume and on destroy. And actually we also have on stop and on pause, but I don't use them for my application. I just go with on back pressed as well, but as you can see here, there's no more lifecycle methods. Yes, so I would say we just go through, and after we finish with on create, I will explain a little bit about the service we have, because the service is interesting for the lifecycle, and most of all, it's very the on start and the on resume is very important for you to understand how it works with the service. So wait for that after we go through on create, and it's really easy. In the beginning, we have all the initialization. We have, for example, the Firebase authentication and the user, and if the user is null, in this case, this is like not so important for the application in general, but I will explain what I did here. This is just when I start the app, then the user must be logged in, because otherwise it wouldn't work to upload something to Firebase. And this is why, like in the background, a user has been logged in here, and we can see here, if user is null, then we would go to login tutorial class. I built this class as well, as you can see here. There's some specific class for it, but I will not show now in this video. It would do that, but normally it doesn't, because the user is signed in as of in this case. So the rest of the onCreate code will happen, and this means this bracket goes till the end of onCreate. So now we understood this. Now we go on to like the first. We can just go over this. This is a little bit not important, a little bit negligible for you. This is just if it's the first time opening the app, then there's shown this is shown. User ID is this and the username is this, but only for the first time. So we have shared preference for this, but it is not important for the app. It's just to understand what I did here is a little bit random and unnecessary. Yes, so afterwards we have this part with the language, and you have to have this language utils class. I will probably put it as well in the description at some point. And this looks like this. It makes the language. It determines the language and bases like the buttons and stuff. And it, like here, language update language is basically what happens here. And afterwards, the content view is made, and then the UI elements are all initiated. This is troubleshoot, not important. This is also initiating here Firebase, and afterwards we have the buttons. And every of those buttons, the record button is this one, the done button is this one, of course, and the delete button is the left one. We have some method, and we will look at those methods in later part of the tutorial series, but not today, of course, because it's about the lifecycle methods. And yeah, we have also this publish button, which will show when we like finish an audio, but yeah. The publish button is something else we will look afterwards. And the fill-in title has also a set on key listener. It means that when you press the enter button on your smartphone, it will automatically close the keyboard. This is like good for the user experience. So this is what I did here. As well, we have to change the language button when the activity starts, when the language changes. So if I press this and then I do done, this language button will show. And based on the language of the smartphone, for example, this smartphone is in English, as you can see. Based on the language of the smartphone, this button will be whatever language. And if my smartphone would be in Italian or in Spanish or in some language which is not put into the app, because of right now it's only German and English. You can see here, you can switch through. If it's some random language, it will always be English. Yes. And this is made here. like here, any other language running on the mobile phone will be English flag. Yes, and as well we have the language button. It means just if it's the English flag, then change it to the German. If it's the German, change it to the English one. So this is the end of onCreate. Now it will become interesting for in terms of the lifecycle methods as well on start and on resume. But first, yeah, in regard to the recording service, as you can see here. At the end of onCreate, so the on-service connector has already gone through. Has it though? Not sure what I did there, but I can show you what happened when onCreate goes through. So onCreate is going through, and here, as you can see here, wait, where was it? There it was. So this is this part here, and it's null, still null, because this thing means actually that you create the service. Bind service and bind auto create means you bind the service and you create the service. But the thing is that this bind auto create is an asynchronous thing to do in Android, and it means it takes some while because here, look at this. It's 3136 yeah, 3136, and yeah, when we scroll down, we can see at some point, yeah, there it is. The recording service has onCreated, and this is just at 36.7. It means 0.7 seconds between it has taken, so it's asynchronous operation or processing. So this is what asynchronous means, and this is also why in the log messages this is null. The recording service is null, even though we have just created it. So just for your understanding. Yeah, certain service intent is fire and binding set in motion. Yes, yes, yes. And now we look at the publish, and I will say I will show you what on start means. On start is, for example, I start the recording, and you can see here as well. Oh wait, yeah, as well here recording active, of course. Now you go out, and because it's a service, the recording still take place. So my microphone still enabled. I can still put in some words. And what happened now? On start will call when I go back into the application, but not the onCreate. And this is why in on start there's some specific code. So when we go back into the application, automatically the countdown is at the point where it's right now. It is shown. As you can see, it's the right number of seconds. It's 46 now. I go out, and now it should be something like 50 when I come back. Yeah, as you can see here. So this is what happened. I go to on start. A recording service is not null. That means the recording state change listener is activated, and it means just the recording state listener handles the countdown thing, and it shows it translates the information from the recording service to our publish tutorial activity. So this is why it's very important to do this. And as you can see here, on start has been called, on start ends, and in between the callback is set. And this, for example, this bracket if clause, it should actually never apply, because on stop, the counterpart to on start, we have those lifecycle methods in Android. It's in the beginning it's on create, then after on create is happening, instantly afterwards on start, then instantly afterwards on resume, and it's always like this. And if there is no on create, then it's only on start and on resume. And if there is no on start and as well no on create, is only on resume. And on resume sometimes happens when I think there is you split or there's some pop-up or from another app, and it's not fully visible, and then only on resume would call. Basically the part which is inside here is the same code. So I was just making sure to if for some reason I don't understand, only on resume is called, then the same things would happen. But yeah, and if what happens inside this is bound, actually it should never apply, because as I said before, the on stop doesn't unbind the service because there is no on stop. There is basically, but I didn't put code in it because, as you can see here, we only have those lifecycle methods in place. So what happens here? This is not a new service intent, like surpassing the fact that the service is not bound. As you can see here, is not bound, but yeah, let's just suppose it's not bound. Then we should, of course, bind it. And this is what happens here. Bind service and bind not foreground as a tag, which means don't touch the foreground state. Just leave the foreground state as it is. And yeah, bind service means actually bind the service and the activity together. This means bind service. So we go through on destroy now as the last piece, and we have to be under 15 minutes, so it's good. Yeah, on destroy means we just shut down the application. So it would mean doing this, or yeah. So recording cancelled, as you see. If the recording service is null, is not null, that means is online, it's still doing. Then you have, of course, removed the state change listener, stop the foreground, stop the foreground is gone. And if the audio has not been uploaded yet, then save the file on the phone storage, because it would be dumb to lose a file just by accident. So we can see on the files, I think there should be something now. Not in the download, but in the recent. Maybe it didn't work. Yeah, good. This thing maybe it doesn't work right. I have to see. But you get the point. And if the service is bound, I think it was bound. Actually, I should look. Service is bound. Yeah. On this start, service is bound. Unbind the service. Happens here, and eastbound is renewed, reset it to a normal state at the beginning. Audio record and finish reset as well, and if the recording service still is not null, then on destroy. And yeah, this is basically the on destroy and on back press. Do we have time for that? We have 2 minutes again. It's good. We can look at on back press again as well. On backpress is basically what you have seen. Can I go back here? Yeah. If I do this and now go this, there is a severe error warning. Exit this window and cancel recording. No, for example, no, and it means if I pull the button on backpress and if the audio recording finishes, okay, this didn't happen. Instead, this happened. Yeah, the recording service is recording. If the audio carré is active, this is basically what happens here. The exit warning came, and it is just this message, which I can show you what happened here a little bit. It doesn't take too much time. Yeah, that's just what you just seen. On the one hand, it deletes the last modified audio file, and on the other hand, it's just canceling it. Yeah, cancel, do nothing basically. And when I press the on back press button, it stops. It pauses the audio. This is also very important to know. And yeah, here's the proceed with on back press when the pending status is released. This is important to understand in terms of that the audio, when you start an audio, and the file is, there's no file yet because it's pending. The audio is pending, and like you have to know the pending status. You set it to 0 and make the audio file visible in the smartphone storage first, and then you when this pending status is released and when there is a smartphone audio file in the smartphone storage, then you can delete it only. Yeah, this is basically why this order thing is in here. Yeah, and that's the whole lifecycle methods. I hope you understood well, and yeah, see you in the next part.